Hey everyone, welcome back to Gamecasters. Today I'm going to be doing another beginner guide to Warframe. Now these are going to be more things that I wish I would have known starting out in Warframe. The first video I did was kind of covering all the basics, things you should know right out the gate, modding and stuff like that. This is going to be a little bit more tips to help you get your snowball kind of rolling downhill. Um, so, one thing I'd like to point out to a lot of new players is things that can help you uh, get new gear or um, things that'll help you on your road through the game. One big thing that will occasionally pop up is you can go up here to this little alerts tab. Um, or no, not the alerts tab. Well, the alerts tab too. Occasionally, the alerts thing will have uh, alerts that'll pop up, and if you complete the challenges on them, you can gain rewards. This one is not one of those. These are just buffed characters and weapons I have. Don't worry about those. You probably won't have access to those if you're watching this video till quite a bit later in the game. But anyways, invasions are a sort of mission that you can do, whichever side you pick to work with during one of these will give you whatever reward is on either side. You can get the parts to certain weapons. Sometimes you can straight up get weapon blueprints. You can get like field drawn and mutagen mass. Those are crafting resources that you can use for things in the clan dojo, which I will be going over here shortly. But you can get a lot of really useful things from these. You can also get reactors and catalysts if they put them in there. But regularly check those because those rewards can help you out a lot. Actually, there is one going on right now. Either path you go, you get a catalyst. So I need to do this, honestly. But you can get a catalyst blueprint. You will have to craft that, but the resources aren't terribly hard to get. I think the credits and organ cells are probably about the harder things to get, just because. Well, I don't know. Credits probably are a lot easier to get now. But the organ cells will probably be the little bit harder thing to get. As you can tell, I've only got like 184 of them, but I also do a lot of crafting, so I don't generally have a large stack of those going. Anyways, going on to the next thing that I wanted to talk about is if you go to a dojo. Now, this is the clan system in the game. I highly recommend joining a clan early on in the game. You can start one, but there's plenty of clans out there that are like for beginners and stuff. They will help you out. So the huge benefit to having a dojo is you can research weapons and equipment in those dojos, and each of those labs can give you stuff that will help you. So one of the big ones is the Tenno lab. So if you go in here to this little terminal, and if you're in a clan that has researched this stuff, you can go in here and you can replicate the blueprints for anything that they have finished. I have most of the stuff done in my personal clan dojo. It's still a little bit of a work in progress, but we're already almost max rank. So, um, but that being said, if you want the Banshee Warframe, all the parts are in here. You can just replicate the blueprint for it, and then all you need after that is the resources to craft that said item. So you go over here, you replicate it. It costs 15,000 to replicate the systems blueprint, and then it'll show you what resources you need to craft the item. And it's super quick way to gain access to new weapons, new warframes, super useful stuff. There's things called lock pins, which a lot of people don't know about. These are permanent waypoints that you can put down in the open world areas. I think you can only have like 10 or 15 of these out at one time. So there is a limit to how many you can use, but they are super useful. You can name them and everything. Uh, Kind of a good way to memorize where certain resources might drop in the open worlds or where a certain enemy you're looking for might spawn. It's a very nice little thing you can use. You can also get Neza in here. You can get Volt if you didn't end up picking him right out the gate. You can get Wukong. You can get Zephyr. You can get new Archwings that you can use. And the other benefit to this is the more of these you use, you can level these up and gain mastery points to unlock higher tier weapons that you are able to use. Because certain weapons you have to have higher mastery rank, such as the Venka, you would need mastery rank 4 to be able to use it. So the more weapons and warframes and stuff you level up, you'll gain access to using new equipment. So leveling up things that you haven't used already is highly beneficial due to the fact that you unlock more stuff to use. Beyond that, I want to say there's like 7 or 8 of these labs you can go to in here. There's an energy one. It also has weapons in it. You can also get the shield restore things. Those are really nice early game. Some of them honestly are even useful late game if you need that extra little boost. You can get one of the sentinels in here. I believe this one, yeah, this one is mostly gear, and then obviously Helios. And then I forget what the other one is. There's like the bio lab, there's the chem lab. These also have weapons in them, and you can also get ammo restores. There's the detonite injectors, which you will see those. You'll end up needing those at some point. Don't stress about them too much. A lot of those will be used mostly for clan research. So honestly, like if you've joined another clan, you really don't have to worry about that too much unless you're contributing to the research, which is another thing you can do. If you join a clan that hasn't fully researched everything, you can contribute resources to those. But that's probably not something you're going to be worrying too much about early game. Beyond that, there's the energy lab, the chem lab, bio lab, tenno lab, Orican lab, and then you have the dry dock, which that's later game stuff, so don't worry too much about that. But that dry dock will let you research more stuff for that thing when you get there. I highly recommend looking into it. That'll help you out a ton. Another big thing I will say is a huge tip to new players: get through your star chart as quick as possible. Um, Obviously, I'm not saying like just burn through and like not enjoy the content on your way through. Still enjoy the story, enjoy the fun that you get along the way, learn what drops on each of those planets because you will need to know that later on. But working your way through completing all the nodes on all the planets will gain you access to end game stuff. Well, end game. A lot of Warframe is end game, but uh, without spoiling anything, just complete all of those planetary nodes. There are quite a few of them, but a lot of them will go really quickly. The only ones that might go a little slower are like your boss fights. There are a couple of Archwing ones that are a little rough, so I personally highly recommend getting your Archwing modded out early on, unless you get lucky enough to get into a public lobby, but there are some of them that even public lobbies are kind of hard to find players for. Beyond that, um, occasionally events will pop up in here. Those can give you rewards. Relic missions. These, um, you so
Ordis is picking up a distress signal. Wait,
at certain
no,
points,
it's just the Corpus Pedro glares again.
Shut off the emergency frequency.
word is popping in. Uh, so at certain points throughout the game, like when you reach 5 minutes in a survival mission or tier 5 in a defense mission, sometimes you'll get a thing called a relic. Now, this is something that will will and can help you a ton early game. So relics are these things that have a chance to drop different parts for warframes, for weapons, sentinels, pretty much anything you can think of that requires crafted parts, you can get them from these. Now, the way this works is each time you complete a relic mission, you will gain void traces. You can use those void traces to upgrade your relic, and if you look at the little bars underneath each of these tiers, if you upgrade the relic, you have a higher chance of getting the higher tier thing. So if you wanted the gold reward, you would want to upgrade it to radiant. If you want, actually, honestly, if you want a gold or silver tier, you'd want to upgrade it to radiant. That is the highest chance for that. And then pretty much exceptional and flawless are kind of the in between. Like, I don't really need anything specific from either of these, so I'll just take an equal chance. But not upgrading them at all will be more than likely you'll get a low tier reward. You can still get the higher tier rewards, and I have seen them drop quite frequently without upgrading them, but upgrading them is going to give you the higher chance if you're going for that top tier reward. Beyond that, learn the game modes before you run relics, for the fact that people run these specific ways. I would say one of the harder ones for a new player would be interception, unless you've got your stuff built out, because the way interception works is you have to hold. There's 4 towers. It's kind of like King of the Hill. So there's 4 towers. Realistically, you only really need to hold 3 out of the 4 in order to win it, but at least 2 people will be on a tower by themselves, or if you do it the smoother way, you can have 3 people on 3 towers and then have one person kind of bouncing back and forth between them. That's one of the more effective ways to do it. And then late game, you can run all 4 people on their own individual towers. But if you don't have a Warframe that is capable of holding down a point on your own, I would not recommend running interception if you can help it, just because it's you're going to be relied on to hold that one specific point. Exterminate is one of the best and fastest ones. Same goes for rescue, and I don't know if capture's in here at the moment, but rescue, capture, and exterminate are some of the fastest ones and the easiest ones. Rescue probably being the easiest, just because of the fact you pretty much can just fast track through it, rescue the guy, and run to extraction. As long as you can guard the rescue target, obviously. Then you also have defense, spy, and survival. Spy can be a little harder, especially if you don't have a stealthy Warframe. I highly recommend, you can get these cipher blueprints from the market. They just cost credits. I think it's only like 500 credits a pop, but ciphers allow you to instant hack terminals. When you click on the terminal and go into hack it, you can just press the button and it will automatically hack it. There are instances later game where those cannot be used, so I still recommend learning how to do the hacking things. But I know there's certain missions later game that spy missions you have to capture all 3 of the targets in order for them to succeed. So again, learn those missions. Personally, I would recommend avoiding spy or interception early game. I would go more for like survival, maybe defense. If you're in a public lobby, those can be pretty smooth, but again, survival, exterminate, and rescue are some of the better ones to aim for. Survival, again, is kind of one of those ones, though, where I would recommend if you have a Warframe that's capable of surviving. Because some squads will go long term in those missions, and they progressively get harder as you go, and it's more meant for looting while also opening relics, and you can kind of stick with a team in those. Those are endless ones, so you can just keep going as long as your team wants to. Personally, if you ever have connection issues or host migration issues, I don't like running defense for the simple fact that if host migration happens and the other players don't get the stick together, like if it kicks you, it can put you into that lobby again on your own. And there's been a couple of times where that has completely like screwed me over. I was not running like a Warframe that was capable of like doing those later rounds on its own and also guarding the defense target, because the defense target's health does not scale with the enemies. So you want to have like a wisp or someone that can keep it alive. And if you lose that person and the enemies end up blowing up the defense target, then you lose all your loot rewards. So it's very frustrating to deal with. That's why I prefer survival. Survival is, even if the life support goes out, you can still make it to extraction and get all your loot. So personally, I avoid defense like the plague. Kind of the same with interception. Interception's kind of the same way. If you end up being in there on your own, you're going to then have to guard 3 towers on your own, and that can end up bad. So defense and interception are the two I don't like to run, but just a tidbit of information on those. Beyond that, I don't think there's much else I wanted to cover in this video. This is just kind of... Actually, no, we'll go over syndicates real quick. So, syndicates are you can choose a faction to join. Typically, whenever you join one of these, you will gain standing for the other two, or for another one. But the only downside to this is the more standing you gain with one of these factions, you will lose standing with another. So, and you have to rank these up. So personally, the way I've always done it is I go through two of those factions and I get everything that I can get from them, and then I move to the next two. It can be a very long process, but I preferred it that way over juggling which syndicate I wanted to try to keep up, and also it can just make the process a lot longer in my opinion. But that's just me. You do it however you want to, or maybe you just never want to go through another faction anyway. But each faction offers you benefits. You can get augment cards for your Warframes. These are generally mod cards that can boost the effects of one of your abilities. Some of them are incredibly useful and almost necessary for certain builds, and then there are other ones that just are not useful at all, and you would be hard pressed to find a way to make them work. So I highly recommend reading up on those before picking them up. You'll see there's quite a few of them in there I have and I don't have. Not all the ones I don't have are not necessarily not useful, but I just haven't picked them up yet because I'm still working through Steel Meridian and Red Veil. But that's just a quick little gloss over of that. You can also get a couple of weapons from those. To my knowledge, I don't think the sigils really have a use anymore. They used to give you standing if you had them equipped. Like, they used to boost your standing, I believe. But I don't think they have a use case anymore, so I wouldn't really bother with those early on. I would more focus on getting, like, the cards and stuff like that. You can also get these beacons from here called the Abyssal Beacons. Those can be used to help you get Dagoth, which is one of the newer Warframes. You can get parts for an Archwing weapon. You can get like decorations and stuff like that. There's armor sets, but those are also things that I don't really recommend going for early on. Also, you'll have to level up the Syndicate in order to gain access to a lot of those things too. So I would recommend leveling up the Syndicate first and then kind of picking up all the stuff that you want from them, because at that point it just becomes passive. You do missions, you get Syndicate standing. Once it caps out, go over there, spend some of it, and then just go about your day as usual until it fills up again. And you'll notice when it fills up, you'll stop seeing the standing pop up as long as your daily uh, standing cap isn't used. But beyond that, I think that covers everything I wanted to in this video with a little extra. Probably running a little long here. I want to try to keep these as short as possible, but Warframe has so much information to absorb, and hopefully these videos will help everyone kind of absorb all that information and help you out with getting into this game. It's a lot of stuff that I either wish I would have known or, you know, I did pick up on, but maybe other people won't. Uh, but yeah, I hope it helps you guys out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.